Hello everyone, my name is Miley and I'm going to be doing Tuesdays for a while now. So for those of you who haven't seen my face before and are wondering who I am, that's who I am. I have an intro video up on the team page if you want to know a little bit more about me. So for this week's video, I kind of just wanted to just go over some like symptom management things, talk about like the things that have helped me, the medications that have worked for me, and all of that type of thing, just to kind of get some ideas going if any of you are struggling with, I know I've definitely reached points in my condition where they've had me on something and then things start to go wrong and then everyone's kind of out of ideas and you're just kind of at a standstill and that's no fun. So yeah, I just kind of want to talk about some of the things that I do, and hopefully that'll help some of you. So I'll just start with medications, I guess, first, which are also in my intro video. But so the medications that I take are Midodrine, fluid cortisone, prescription salt, sodium chloride, levothyroxine, amphetamine or Adderall salts, and phenergan and zofran. I won't talk about all of them in detail because some of them are a little bit less important. But so for me personally, the Adderall has helped me probably the most out of any medication that I've taken, thus far in the last 5 years. It's been the thing that's been able to keep my blood pressure up and keep it consistently up. And so it's without a doubt been the most helpful for me. I understand it's sort of a difficult medication, and I personally don't like taking it because just of the type of drug it is a stimulant. It is, a drug that people often abuse and use for not so great purposes. It can be difficult in that regard to doctors being nervous about prescribing it and people being nervous about taking it. I know at first when my doctor brought it up, I refused to try that. I want to try other things first. But if you're at that point where you need something, nothing else is working and you need something new to try, I might suggest that. That one, and then also for me personally, the fluticcortisone, with that medication is a steroid that is used to help a person's body retain water. It works with the kidneys to promote salt and water retention, which for me personally is a huge part of my POTS. So if you struggle with that as well, I would definitely suggest that. That medication is the one that if I don't get it, I usually end up passing out that day. So it's done wonders for me. So I suggest that as well. As far as nausea goes, I know that's just a really unpleasant thing that most of us unfortunately have to deal with. For me, the traditional nausea medications, they work sometimes, sometimes not. Sometimes just not real well. The Phenergan that I take is, it works for me. The only thing that I would say, the only caveat to that is that it also makes me quite tired. That is one of the kind of biggest complaints for people who are on that medication, for POTS or for something else. It's just used for nausea in general, throughout any kind of condition. So so if it makes you too tired, I know that my drug tolerance is quite high, so it might make someone else more tired than it makes me. So if you can't handle that, then that would be kind of a downside to that. The medication that has helped my nausea the most has been called Reglan, which is a medication that works with your gastrointestinal system, and it helps with the gastric emptying and like pushing stuff through so you can digest stuff at like a normal person rate, instead slower than a turtle. So that has without a doubt, that medication made me feel so much better. So much better. So if you're having problems with that and it's, related to your stomach not emptying properly like mine is, I would definitely go with that. That's the, that's the only medication that they've been able to come up with for me that has worked on that in terms of actually getting to the source of what's causing the nausea and not just kind of covering it up and making it feel better in the moment. That medication actually worked in towards sort of fixing the problem and addressing it directly. Unfortunately, that one medication is one of the only medications that happens to interact very strongly with the Adderall that I take, and um, it makes the Adderall not work, which when I stopped taking my Adderall, I started passing out, every day or every other day. So that's not fun. I had to stop taking the Ritalin, but so that's the only downside to that. But I would definitely suggest that if you are kind of dealing with some of that as well. In addition to medications, I also do IV infusions. So like right now I have a thing on my arm because I just had one the other day and had my IV taken out. But so if you ever see me with a thing in my arm and you're like, what the heck are you doing? That's probably what it is. It's probably an IV. But that has also helped me so much. And it's pretty simple. It's just, IV saline. And in my opinion, I would much rather have, an IV with saline because that's rather benign. It's just salt water compared to like having to start another medication. So yeah, it can be a little bit difficult to get doctors to kind of get on board with that and insurance and stuff. But if you just be persistent, usually that can be done. And I know it's helped me so much. It's helped me, especially with my energy levels and just again helping with just keeping things up more consistently instead of keeping it up and then it just stops working and doesn't. So I get those 3 times a week, and yeah, they help me feel a lot better. So yeah, I would definitely also suggest that because I know fluids are so important, which kind of brings me to the next thing is that I'm sure you probably have already heard this, and if you haven't, listen. Fluids are so important. I don't know exactly if your doctors have told you any specific amounts. I've heard people say anywhere from like 3 to 5. I know my doctor said you need to drink 5 liters of Gatorade every day. And I remember I looked at her and I was like, you want me to drink how much? Like, have you seen me? Like, do I even look like I can fit that much in my body? Like, what are you talking about? But yes, it is important and you can do it. I was able to do it. 5 liters is a lot, but you will be amazed at how much difference that makes. It makes a huge difference. And then also with the IV infusions, that can help out because I know like some days you get to a point and you're like, man, I cannot drink anymore or I'm gonna throw up everywhere. Like you just can't handle it. So don't make yourself sick by drinking so much. But yeah, definitely. I would say at least 3 probably for everyone. I think is probably a good amount. Or more if your doctor suggests more, which I know Gatorade can get kind of and really sick of drinking it all the time. But there's lots of flavors. Let's see, I'm trying to think of like what my favorites have been. I really like the lemonade one. I would also suggest getting the low calorie one. At least for me, I know my cardiologist has said the G2, the stuff called G2, that is supposedly supposed to be the best in terms of like the electrolytes and the way they work in your system. So first of all, I suggest that one. And secondly, if it's available in your area, get the lower calorie one because it's basically just like a watered down version, and it's not so much sugar because after like 3 of them, your stomach is like, no more sugar, Mayor, I'm done. So that definitely helps if you can try that. So yeah, I recommend the lemonade one, and then getting a lower calorie version. In terms of like the electrolytes and the way it works in your system, there really isn't much of a difference. Because I know I was nervous about that, and I asked my doctor about it. And as far as I know, it doesn't, it doesn't give you significantly less than like the full version would in terms of like your fluid volume and the electrolytes being delivered. So I would definitely suggest that. And let's see what else. Um, I'd also say like getting on a consistent exercise regimen and sort of learning about the types of exercise that are helpful, because I know exercise intolerance is such a huge part of the way it affects people's lives. I know that before I got sick, I was a gymnast and I was a soccer player and I was a hardcore athlete and I loved sports. And when I started getting sick and I wasn't able to play anymore, it broke my heart. So learning about the types of exercise that you can do, if that's something that you enjoy. Some suggestions that have been made to me by doctors are any type of isometric exercise, which basically means anything that's going to sort of work to tone your muscles, particularly muscles in your legs and your lower legs, which will help kind of keep your blood volume pumped up, literally up in your body. Because I know specifically for me, I get a lot of blood that pools in my legs. And that can kind of help, naturally get that back up there. So anything like yoga, personally, I just like to go on walks. I think that, even just like a mile or something like that, it's really nice just to get outside, because I know a lot of us spend so many days like cooped up inside in bed. And obviously, if you're having a bad day and, it's a stay in bed kind of day, then you're not going to be able to get out and walk. But on days that you're feeling okay, that's something that I really enjoy doing. And it doesn't, at least for me, it might be different for somebody else, but at least for me, it doesn't, get things up too high where it starts to cause problems. So that's just something nice that I like to choose, because it's nice to be outside and kind of, breathe in fresh air and be in the sunshine. And well, if you live in an area where it snows, that might not be so fun. But for those of you who live in areas where weather is sort of more mild, that might be a good idea. I know people like to do like rowing machines. I know those are good. I personally haven't tried a rowing machine, so I don't know how that exactly works, but I know that's a thing. So you could look into that. Also, like stationary bikes, I know are really good. I've used those. Personally, they're not as fun for me. So I generally lean more towards yoga and walking. Yoga is great. I think that that's probably the thing that I enjoy doing the most, just because it's also just like a really good way to like relax and kind of get away from everything going on, and kind of helps you with more of like the mental processing, because I know it's definitely difficult when you've been in bed all day or for 3 days, and you can finally get out of bed, and everyone else is out doing stuff and you're stuck kind of alone and stuff. So that can be stressful and kind of ugh. So yoga definitely helps me with that, just kind of reconnect and breathe and have time to like think about things, and also be helping with your body physically. The only thing I'll say about that is I know I've been to some yoga classes where they start doing things like downward facing dog and things like that kind of involve more of like inverted positions. And I know for me, I don't know if this happens with other people too, but for me that really sets my symptoms off. I get real dizzy and my blood pressure starts doing crazy things. So if that's the case, then you might just have to let the teacher know, like, hey, I can't do any like upside down type things, and you might just have to kind of wait while they do those positions. But yeah, I would definitely suggest yoga. Don't do the hot yoga or the really intense types of yoga, because those can definitely I know yoga can definitely be used as a more intense type of exercise. So go for the sort of more gentle, relaxing type of classes. Personally, the type that I like is called vinyasa. And there's another one, I don't know the name of it. I think it starts with a K. If any of you yoga people out there know what that is. Yeah. So the vinyasa yoga, is kind of more relaxing. It can get quite intense if you go into like the upper level classes, so maybe stray away from that. The class that I take is just like a relaxing type, gentle class. A lot of the people in my class are sort of older women, on the weekend or whatever. So yeah, so this is getting quite long. So sorry, but those are my suggestions for kind of pain management, symptom management type stuff. And I will see you guys all next Tuesday. And I hope you found this helpful. Sorry I'm not so organized this week with things just getting started. But next week I'll hopefully have maybe something a little more put together for you guys. But I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you guys all next week. Thanks for watching. Bye.